Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Giants of the Deep Blue. This is a National Geographic documentary. It's from 2018. It's 45 minutes long. It's a standalone documentary. It's not like a series or anything. And it's obviously about whales and dolphins and narwhals and bears. Yeah, there's bears in this one. Go figure. So yeah, this follows through a pretty academic level of facts about how all of these creatures, some of the biggest, the biggest creatures on Earth, the blue whale in particular, including sperm whales and humpback whales and killer whales, orcas, they're all featured in this. And you get to see how they hunt, how they breed, how they form their families, how they mate, like they find a mate, and how they compete for them. It's pretty much something the teacher would put on toward the end of the year in class, and they just don't feel like teaching anymore. They got to grade papers or something, and they don't want to teach. And you, at least in my era, they just put on the projector or something. They don't. Well, we had TVs eventually. That was a century or so ago, I guess, when we had talkies. Anyway, we get to see all the facets of how they move, and it's pretty fascinating. And since this is 2018, it's fairly recent. It's not very recent, but it's super recent in the sense that it looks gorgeous. There's so much detail. You get a really close-up view of a lot of these creatures below water, obviously, but above water as well. And you get to see some really interesting hunting techniques for some of these whales and even the dolphins that involve being on land. As he makes it clear, this is not something that they know at birth. It's not something they are just, it's an instinct. No, it's something that is taught generation to generation, and they take humongous risk at doing this. Killer whales do this when it comes to eating sea lions. Yeah, they usually find the youngest and weakest and most confused of the sea lions, usually the orphaned pups because they had eaten their parents previously, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, you're gonna see some little sea lions getting eaten by whales in this. It's pretty bloody and pretty blubbery too. And also the whales also eat each other at different times. Like some of the killers, I think they go after humpbacks, and it's pretty terrifying. Well, it's not terrifying, like, oh my god, it's like you're not going to be like up all night scared to death that the whale's going to come and get you, but it's still pretty. I mean, we see stories about whales and dolphins and how majestic and beautiful and wonderful they are, just the glorious creatures they are. They're also killers. They have to eat to survive, and they're not exactly eating plants. So yeah, they go for the bloodiest meat they can find. And yeah, we're not talking, there's no sharks. I don't think there's any sharks in this. There are just whales and dolphins. And the dolphins, like I said, on land, the dolphins will at times force smaller groups of fish towards the shore. And as they start trying to escape them, they accidentally hop onto the shore. There's birds also waiting because they know how this works. They're smart to a degree. The dolphins also sort of launch themselves up, specifically on their right sides, always it seems, and they'll just open their mouths and hope the fish will flop into them. Sometimes they'll wiggle and move just to get the right angle so they can catch them. But there's also a humongous risk that if the tide isn't right and they don't get what they want, they could literally die there, and they become a meal for somebody else. Even the birds, eventually, if they just sort of dry out and just die. It's a humongous risk, but it's something that's taught and passed down from their elders generation after generation. It's pretty impressive that they're just like, you know what? There's a lot of fish in the sea, but what if we can get them on land? And then there's other situations where, when, like I said, with the whales attacking other whales, like humpback, like orcas attacking humpbacks, they'll usually, again, find the young ones because they're more vulnerable. It's not a pleasant society in this. They go after the kids, and they'll drown them. Yes, whales can drown because they need air to breathe. Some of them can be underwater for as many as like 25 minutes or so, but yeah, they drown them. Yeah. I mean, I realize I'm giving you God, I've already forgotten what those things were called. The shortened version of this actual documentary. But I suggest if this kind of thing interests you at all, obviously you're gonna want to watch this rather than just listen to me. The visuals are pretty impressive. If you can't handle a lot of just shredded whales, blubber and blood and everything else, or little calves of whales and such, and dolphins being killed along with sea lions, well, yeah, you're going to want to avoid this, but it can be pretty educational. Again, National Geographic, so it's reliable. And also, I mentioned bears. Yes, there are bears involved in this, among other animals. There's some bears, some really big ones, that literally know how this feeding cycle works when it comes to the whales, with the orcas hunting down humpbacks, and they're looking for leftovers. Or possibly, let's say the orcas just aren't good at locking down their food. Well, guess what? They can literally hop on one of those carcasses and just start chowing. They're hungry and they're desperate, but they're not dumb. And so, like I said, with the orcas killing a humpback, they'll chomp it up as much as they can, literally tearing it apart, gutting it, and then they'll drag it to the bottom of the ocean to some point where they expect that it'll be kept for later. So they have, open the fridge later and have a snack when they're hungry again. Well, sometimes that they don't secure the carcass too well, and it floats up to the surface, and the bears are like, all right, they screwed up again. We're back. And it doesn't always happen. It means a lot of bears go hungry. But the bears, there's a shot of a bear literally standing on top of a whale carcass and just taking a chomp, just feeding himself for the winter pretty much. It's already pretty cold where he is, but yeah, you get the idea. It's brutal. It's a brutal, not as majestic as they make it out to be kind of thing, I don't know. Those aliens that were looking for whales in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, they might have had some conquest things in mind. I don't know. You never know. I realize that only the nerds will get that. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
430.
430. Hands are cold. It's been a cold week. For California. 4:30. I said 4:30, right? Yeah, 4:30. All right, we got a movie. And we just missed a short and a documentary on either side of this. Or technically a documentary. A reality show kind of thing. But either way, I mean, we missed a classic. One of the seminal Disney classics by just one. But instead, we're going to be watching Step. And you see what I'm talking about when I say seminal. Right there. Stupid Lily. But we're not seeing that. We're not watching that. That's not the number that was picked. I don't get to choose. This thing chooses for me randomly. And whatever it picks, that's what I watch. So we're watching Step. It's a movie on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Bye. Okay. I searched, I double searched, and then I tripled searched on 2 different devices, and I did a Google search to make sure this ever existed on Disney Plus, and it did, and it actually brings up a result when I just search Step Disney Plus. I click on the link, it takes me to Disney Plus, but it says, oops, It's not there. Doesn't work. So there's a problem with that. They must have taken it off of Disney Plus for now. So that means we have to pick something else. That's one of those rare things I can't help. As far as I know, when I made this list, it was still there. But hey, we could. No, we're not going to do. We're not going to choose the other one. We're not choosing 429. We're going to pick a brand new random one.
99.
99. Would be cool if that was a Bad Batch, but we already watched the Bad Batch, so they're Clone Troop 99. Yeah, Star Wars nerd. 99. Here we go. Okay. I don't know what this is, but we'll see. We're going to be watching Daddies on Request. It's a series. I don't know what that is. Maybe it might be a Disney Junior thing. I'm not sure. I don't know. Daddy's on Request is what we're watching next, if it's still on Disney Plus. On the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.